All right, everybody cool?
In my name that is positive.
We don't. We don't. Good morning, everyone. Today I am joined by Council President Mosby, Councilwoman Ramos, and Council President for Life, Mary Pat Clarke.
Thank you.
It is in large part due to Councilwoman Clarke's dedication to and advocacy for residents across Baltimore that we're here signing this bill today, and it would not have been possible without her successor, Councilwoman Ramos, taking up the mantle and being a tireless advocate for housing issues in our city. This bill, officially titled the Councilmember Mary Pat Clarke Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, builds on the work that she did throughout her entire time in office and restores one crucial support for renters in Baltimore City. Once signed into law, this bill will restore renters' ability to have the first opportunity to purchase the homes that they have been renting if their landlord decides to sell. This is one of the most significant steps we can take to help improve the path for renters to move into home ownership, which we know remains one of the best pathways to build generational wealth, particularly for Black and brown families. This bill also fosters community stability and reduces displacement, which can help further investments in our neighborhoods. I want every resident in Baltimore to have the tools that will help them feel empowered to buy a lasting place to call home. As we seek to increase the overall number of residents across the city, reducing vacant properties, and increasing home ownership, this legislation puts another tool back into the toolbox for residents hoping to one day become homeowners. But as a new homeowner, let me tell you that that's when the true fun begins. And I can tell you it's been a powerful, powerful experience that involves a lot of putting things together that come in lots of pizzas. I want to thank Councilwoman Ramos for introducing this legislation and for showing that it carries on the name of the legacy of the incomparable Mary Pat Clarke. Together, with work like this, we can continue to empower renters, strengthen communities, and provide a pathway to home ownership for those who have long deserved the opportunity. And thank you. I'll turn it over to Councilwoman Ramos and then the Council President.
For life.
Both Council Presidents. It's three of them.
Right, that's right, that's right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council President. And I want to thank all my colleagues as well. Many hands were on this bill to make sure we got it right. This is an amazing opportunity for renters. Also, it was very important to name it after my predecessor because she was the first one to pass legislation in the country. The first one in the country to pass legislation to allow renters to purchase the property in which they are already living. And so in the rare occasion that she was out of office, it was watered down. And so this bill puts the requirements back where they should be, upgrades the language a little bit, and we're very excited to be able to present this to Baltimore today to make sure that renters have this opportunity. So I want to thank, again, the mayor, council president, and all my colleagues, and of course to Councilwoman Clarke for her vision. I know she worked with a lot of advocates at the time at St. Ambrose and many others, so we want to give them credit and a shout out as well. And a lot of work came into this, so we're very excited about this day. It's a great news day, so thank you so much.
Great.
No, Madam President, you go first.
Oh. Thank you very much. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, and Odette, for what this is so important to so many people, and I am so proud of the mayor and of my councilwoman and the president for unanimously adopting the fix-up for this bill. Basically, if I can just take a couple minutes to tell you what it's about, way back in the years ago, there was in many of our neighborhoods, all of a sudden our neighborhoods got to be very attractive to buy houses in, and people began to buy up houses to sell for that reason, and people were losing their homes So they're renters, their lease is up. See you later, alligator. We're selling this thing. We're going to turn it around and sell it for double the price or that it's worth. That was happening all over Baltimore, but especially in our district. And so we came together and we worked with St. Ambrose Housing Aid Center. And the hero there was Frank Fisher, now deceased and passed to his glory, who made us stick with it. And we stuck with it through 40 changes, rewrites, 40. So things aren't as bad as you think they are here now. Sometimes you think, oh, will they ever stop? No. And so finally, it was passed, but just before it was, I have to tell you the story that the mayor, and he will remain nameless in this one.
We can figure it out.
Well, I'm not asking you to do math here. Let me just... He called me at 4:00 in the afternoon of the night that we were finally on second reader, and he said, "I don't like this bill. I can't support this bill. Would you withdraw it?" And I said, "Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I've got the votes." And he said, "Well, I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand." And I said, "Mr. Mayor, you are a lawyer. And we have to go vote." And so we did vote. It passed. It became law. And that mayor, who will remain nameless, he was against it, but in the next budget that came out, without ever telling me, he put $1 million so that people who use this guarantee would have a way to pay the down payment.
Hey, there you go.
So, amen, it's nice to be back home here where good things can happen, and thanks to my colleagues that they are.
No claps from the media on that?
Yeah, that was a good one, yes.
No, Madam President, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your continued leadership in working with the council, particularly as it relates to housing security, affordable housing, and ensuring that home ownership to particularly our legacy renters are at the forefront of all that we do. Last but not least, for the champion, for the quarterback on the council, Councilwoman Odette Ramos, for always coming through on really, really important housing bills. Now, we didn't have 40 changes, but there was a lot of outside conversations with folks that have certain special interests regarding this particular bill. And I think throughout this whole process, and we understand and know the best bill is a bill where the process is arduous, that we're here today showing a very unified effort about, again, ensuring that we put every single step in the way, that we provide any incremental change that we can do and develop through policy for Baltimore City residents, our legacy residents, to have access to home ownership. We understand and know how great our city is. We understand and know the trajectory that we will be on and will continue to be on. And that really starts with the foundation of ensuring that our residents don't get displaced or outpriced in their communities, that they have access to it. Imagine a resident who's renting today, that when their landlord comes to them, and they're a working class resident in our city today, their landlord comes to them and say, "Hey, I want to sell this property, but I have to sell it to you first. So I have to give you the first right of refusal." And then, Mary Pat, imagine when they go and they get approval for that mortgage, and they know that their mortgage payment of owning a piece of Baltimore, owning that property, was less than their rent. That's what we're talking about here. That's why I'm so supportive of this bill. That's why I'm excited to stand with Madam President, Mr. Mayor, and the sponsor of the bill, Councilwoman Odette Ramos. At this point, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Now we will make it official.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
thanks. Good words. Thanks so much.
There we go.
Hey, awesome.
Sir, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, okay. Edges of everything. In a good way.
Let's see.
No,
third?
It's 6 months out.
We have
Yeah,
a
6
6 months out so that the Department of Housing and Community Development can, one of the things that we've added to the bill is reporting, so that we know exactly how this bill is working. And also, the department is going to be developing a fact sheet so that renters know their rights, and that will be available on the website. So we wanted to give enough time for all of that to be put in place so that, all the pieces are fitting together.
Can I just say, there are a lot of processes backing up that right. So basically, it's a long story, but you just don't, if you try to then turn around and offer this house to someone else at a lower rent after this process is going on, you can't do it.
That's right.
You have
We
to
have
go.
the safeguards.
You can't do it. It's not allowed.
What are some of the requirements of people who, landlords who own the home, who then are possibly selling? What processes do they have?
Yep, so if the landlord is deciding to sell the home, he has to offer it to the tenant. The tenant has 14 days to sign a letter of intent saying that they do want to move forward with the purchase, and then they will go through the contract process. So it's the same regular contract process, 30, 60 days. They have to get their financing approved, et cetera. If the tenant can't match that price that has been given, and the landlord puts it on the market anyway, and they are getting 10% or there's a change of 10% or less, 10% of the price that goes down, then they have to offer it back to the tenant. And so we put in a lot of those safeguards. The one piece that was removed to make it weaker prior to our bill was that there was an exemption put in that if a landlord put it on the market, they wouldn't have to follow this. So it never happened. So we took that out. You have to follow these, and we did work with all parties to make sure that that this was going to work. So we're very confident in how this is going to go.
Is there any protection for if a landlord were to say, a lease is up, they move someone out, and then decide, I'm going to, renovate the kitchen and then sell it? Is there any safeguard for if that were to happen?
Yeah, there's going to be some other legislation around. We passed Just Cause, and so that was one of the things.
First in the state.
Yeah, the first in the state to pass Just Cause eviction, so that they can't just be evicted for no reason. And so that fits in here, where the likely that the renter will stay for a lot longer and then have that opportunity.
Dave? Yes, thank you. I'll take a question on a different topic.
Sure, go ahead.
How do the police connect the 15-year-old to the Dunbar shooting? What was the motive? What type of weapon was used? Where did the weapon come from? And would you explain the narrative that police believe happened?
So, well, Dave, two things. One, this is still an ongoing investigation that will now have to go through the process. I can't give out details about something that's going to have its day in court, especially when it comes to a juvenile case. We know that, right? What I will say, and say again, as I said that night, that as often what happens, and we're seeing more and more and more of, these are basic disputes that are ending up in violence and these handguns. You know this very well as someone who's covered this for a long time. The overwhelming majority of them come from outside of the city and outside of the state. And we're going to continue to hold everybody accountable. It doesn't matter who you are when you pull a trigger, like this young gentleman, or it could be a 40, 50, 60-year-old. But we're also going to continue to hold manufacturers, people who straw purchase, people who traffic weapons, and also folks who are helping and aiding people to get weapons that they shouldn't have. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.